Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this narration of the web novel Humans Don't Make Good Familiars, taken from Reddit with the author's approval. If you're new to the series, there is a playlist listed in the description. And as always, I hope that you enjoy. Chapter 35. Suma and I were released without incident, except for the strange staring that Dahal kept doing when he thought I wasn't looking, and a lengthy conversation with the Grand Duke Duca Sopra. He asked me if I was okay, and other questions about the attack. Then he started to ask me about, well, me. To be fair, I just killed a Drake, something that is difficult for a trained group of experienced mages, apparently, and in one-on-one combat. So I guess I should have expected people to be curious. He asked me about where I was from, what I did, about my magic. He was quite surprised to hear that it was a form of chaos magic, or at least I think he was. I'm getting better at telling, but I'm still not perfect. Eventually, Suma joined us and she answered a few questions as well before the Grand Duke thanked us both while speaking with him and excused himself, wishing us both a safe day. Before going, he also assured us that we would do everything in his power to punish the nobles who attacked us, and he would make an example of them in case any others got an idea of revenge. I decided not to go home for a couple days after the attack, just in case any more nobles tried to attack Suma. Just like last time, I rented a room from a nearby kennel and paid with my mana. Then Suma and I did something that we were dreading for a while. "What did you do? It's only been 3 days!" The Niema who made Destiny, Mori and Igus squawked. "How did you even put these holes in it?" he said angrily as he examined the shield. "And what happened to the spear? It looks like you smashed it against a boulder. Why is the tempering of the metal tip ruined?" The more he talked, the more depressed he sounded. I know. I'm sorry," I said, "but we were attacked and everything got kind of broken in the fight. Well, except Mori, the sword." The Niema blacksmith smiled. "Well, I guess I knew that this would happen on a level eventually. I just didn't expect it so soon." He shook his head and used magic to lift up Igus. He looked over it again and then back at me. "So did they at least do well?" "Yeah, they did. Igus, the shield took everything like a champ. I would have been skewered without it. And Destiny gave me range when I needed it. I took out several of those nobles' familiars with her. That Drake would have killed me if I hadn't had them all," I told him. When I said the word Drake, his head perked up a bit. And the feathers on his head did too. "A Drake, you say?" His voice sounding much lighter. "The things I made help beat a Drake." He started standing a bit taller now, and his chest was even poked out a bit more. "Well, how about that?" So, can they be fixed?" I wondered. He looked over everything one more time. "The shield will need to be patched and welded back together, but it is doable. The spear, however, that might be a lost cause. At least the shaft, anyway. I could retemper the metal, but there is always a chance the wooden shaft will break again. You might want to consider ordering a new one out of the metal tube. That way it'll be harder to break and easier to repair," he explained. "How much is this all going to cost?" Sima spoke up. "I won't lie, probably a lot. Maybe a whole dull jar," he said. "How much is that?" I asked. "A lot. A dull jar is what we use to store mana outside of our bodies. One dull jar could hold 2 whole days' worth of mana from 2 normal Niema, or maybe half a day for your current court mage," she explained. "Can I pay half now and half on completion?" I asked the blacksmith. He wobbled his head back and forth in a thinking motion, and then said, "Well, I don't know for sure how much it'll cost until it's all said and done, but if you want to put down a payment, then that's fine with me." He went into another room for a moment and brought back a small jar-looking thing about the size of his body. "How do you carry that?" I wondered. "It's lighter than it looks. Also, it's empty," he replied and scooted it in front of me. "Just put in as much as you can manage, and we can worry about the rest later." I knew how to do this part, as it was pretty similar to when I paid for my room at the kennel. Only this jar was a lot bigger. I placed my hand on the top and started forcing my mana into the jar. I had to be careful. The first time at the kennel, I tried this and it broke the jar. Slowly, I let the mana flow into the container, but unlike the kennel, I didn't feel any resistance. so I let the flow a bit harder, assuming that I was holding back too much. Are you okay, Jake? Suma asked a moment later. Yeah, I'm fine, I said with my eyes still closed, trying to focus and not breaking the bottle. Are you sure, son? The blacksmith asked, sounding a bit worried. Yeah, why? I asked, opening my eyes and seeing that the jar was almost full and glowing brightly enough that it would have us avert our eyes. I immediately stopped, as I hadn't wanted to accidentally lose control and break the bottle. Sorry. The blacksmith peeked around the wing as he was using to shield his eyes from the light. It didn't do that the last time you paid, did it? Suma paid last time, I said. Speaking of which, it didn't cost this much to have it made. Why is it so much to have it repaired? Most of the price is the metal tube. It's difficult hollowing out a metal rod, the Niema said, still side-eyeing the glowing doll jar. Jake, did this happen when you paid for your room? Suma asked. I don't know. The thing I used then wasn't see-through, I said to her. Why are you hollowing out a pre-built rod? Why not just use flat sheet and then roll it? I asked, turning back to the blacksmith. Evenly heating a hollow tube with flame magic is nearly impossible alone. And unless you want to pay a higher price, I can't hire someone to help me, he said. I thought for a moment as he covered up the brightly glowing doll jar with a rag, allowing us all to open our eyes again. Can I see your working area? I asked. I wanted to see how you create fire with magic and how you mold the metal. My question seemed to catch him off guard, but he agreed, and we walked to his back room. Suma excused herself, saying that she had other business to attend to. I think she just didn't want to watch. Okay, let's fire up the forge, the blacksmith said and placed a wingtip on the small red symbol emblazoned on the side of the brick and metal box. The symbol began to glow, and the magic circle formed in the center of the box. Then it erupted into flames. End of chapter. This is a special thank you to the one, the only, the legendary Eric Hino, who has become the only Tier 6 patron. I just want to thank the T5 patrons and channel members. Bob the Dragon, Cam Maxwell, Casper Arnholtz, Estrella the Dreamer, Tryagain95, Fudic Yol, Meridian 117, Alithia, Jordan Bucksbaum, Angry Marine, Albarden Gusta, and Barkey. Thank you very much. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed. There are links down below, both to support this channel and for the author of this fiction. Anyways, I hope you all have a fantastic one, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.